Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Winning Post, your one stop for all the racing news and action from India and around the world. I'm Mandira Lalvani. Before anything, let's have a look at what's coming up on this week's episode. On this episode of The Winning Post, the Korea Racing Trophy won impressively by Distinctive Darcy and a very special win for Mr. Fantastic, who beat two of his stablemates to clinch the top honours. The Korea Racing Authority Trophy for horses 3 years and older was run on the 23rd of July in Singapore. This was the third edition of the reciprocal race meeting, and the $250,000 contest attracted a field of 12 horses. The contenders included local favourite Distinctive Darcy from Mark Walker's yard, who also found favour in the betting. The talented 3-year-old was facing a stiffer task measuring up against a higher benchmark at level weights, but his ability was never in question. Lad Djuric would be holding his reins for this race. Distinctive Darcy's stablemate Viviano would be ridden by Derek David and had the form to pose a serious threat. He finished first in his last two outings. Daniel from Laurie Laxton's stable was also fancied with a strong chance and had Manuel Nunes astride. South Korea's two representatives were Centenary, who was ridden by Harry Kasim, and Koi Ganja, who had the services of Oscar Chavez in the saddle. An exciting race was clearly on the cards as the runners jumped out of the starting gates.
They're all set. The Korea Racing Authority Trophy, and now they're away and racing, and the general missed at a half length. Viviano's going to settle back and away fast here. Dark Bounty on the outside, Centenary pushing forward. Pioneer 7 and also Wonderful in the first quartet being followed. My Chugungja on the outside with the blue colours, white cap. Then Dragon Fury on the fence. Royal Ruler getting back now. Distinctive Darcy. Daniel's had about 5 wide, but starting to track forward. Laser Storm back with those. Distinctive Darcy just in front of him. Viviano back second last, and the general back last of all as they race down towards the 700, and it is Dark Bounty who leads by about a neck. Pioneer 7 the outside second, then Wonderful moving up third on the outside of one of the Korean horses, and that's Centenary in the white colours. Chugungja back behind those. He's back about fifth and just put under a little bit of pressure as they turn for home. Then came Daniel. Now looking back in the pack, Distinctive Darcy a long way off them. Viviano's tracking a pass near the inside, and Laser Storm out wide as Pioneer 7 raced up to Dark Bounty in the KRA Trophy. Deep in the home stretch, Pioneer 7, Dark Bounty, Daniel coming at those, and so too is Distinctive Darcy, and Laser Storm coming with a run as well. It's Distinctive Darcy and Laser Storm racing to the front. It's Distinctive Darcy and Laser Storm fighting it out. Distinctive Darcy hanging on and wins the KRA Trophy. Distinctive Darcy from Laser Storm. Third is a photo, either Daniel or Pioneer 7, and further back Wonderful with Dark Bounty, Royal Ruler, Centenary. Further back in the pack then we had Viviano with the general and Dragon Fury, and also Chugungja back towards the rear.
Yeah, they've gone really hard early. I wasn't too worried about him being back where he was, as long as Bled got him to the outside, because, you know, the Polly always runs a little bit better out there, and Bled knows that, and the horse got the job done. Mark's done a marvellous job of him, because like he was tempted to go for the 3-year-old racing. He put him aside, and then he's brought him back and second up as a 3-year-old to win a race like that. It's great stable effort.
Credit must go to Mark, really. You know, he was obviously a horse with a lot of ability in his first preparation here, and you know, credit where credit's due. Mark gave him a nice break, and you know, he's finished into pretty much a finished product. You know, he does everything spot on now, and you know, he's stepped up in grade tonight at level weights against older horses, and overcame a bit of adversity. I was in an awkward position with horses all around me, and to the horse's credit, he found a way. You know, I just sort of tried to help him a bit, and you know, once I straightened up, the race was over, and I've been wasting a bit today, a week off, so I was fumbling around the last 100 metres, but yeah, he was just too good. I sort of had in my mind that I'd be probably third pair, but I was hoping to sort of be outside of horses, just to knowing that I felt in my mind that he was probably a bit better than them. But I just found myself in traffic, so I just had to try to get around that, and yeah, then his class sort of came to the fore.
Exciting galloper Distinctive Darcy overcame a few traffic problems to gain the upper hand at the right time to clinch the race and honours. From the start, the son of Darcy Brahma looked bogged down amongst a bunch of runners at the rear and seemingly running into dead ends every time he tried to find a way out. but the moment he found a gap at the 250-meter marker, his rip, the engine roared, and in one fell swoop, Distinctive Darcy gobbled up the leaders one by one before staving off a late charge from long-shot Laser Storm to go and fall in by half a length. Daniel peaked on his run to finish third, another 1 3/4 lengths away, one nose ahead of Pioneer 7. The winning time was 1 minute 10.95 seconds for the 1,200-meter journey on the poly track.
Mr. Lee will now present the owner's trophy of the Korea Racing Authority Trophy, which was won by the Fair Deal stable and on stage, Mr. Dato Terry Lee. Long-time supporters of the Mark Walker stable, and they've got a nice one here, the 3-year-old Distinctive Darcy winning. Beautiful trophy there as well for the Korean Racing Authority Trophy. The winning trainer, Mark Walker, but in his absence, Gus Clutterbuck to step forward and collect the trainer's prize on behalf of Mark Walker. And the trophy to be handed over to Gus Clutterbuck, the right-hand man of Mark Walker. And another feature race win here in Singapore for winning jockey Vlad Jurek. Vlad Jurek coming forward, bit of a sideways step there on the stage, not wanting to get into the photo, but Vlad to get his opportunity now with the photo and the jockey's trophy after the Korea Racing Authority Trophy. Our congratulations to all of the winners. Please join us for a group photograph after the Korea Racing Authority Trophy over the 1,200 metres.
The Mr. Big 2011 Stakes Kranji Stakes A over 1,400 metres was the 6th race on the card on the 30th of July and boasted of a $125,000 purse. A strong field of 8 was in the fray for this contest on the turf track. Ricardo Lagrange came into this race with a strong hand, including 3 runners: Mr. Fantastic, Majestic Moments and Emperor's Banquet. Mr. Fantastic had trialled well after running off the board in the Kranji Stakes A. In the trial, he beat his stablemate Emperor's Banquet. With stable jockey Baron Voster on board, Mr. Fantastic was in with a strong chance, even though the betting showed that Majestic Moments with Juglal on was slightly preferred in the markets. Majestic Moments was also coming through that trial, where he had finished 2 lengths behind Mr. Fantastic. The favourite in the race was Hip Hip Hooray, trained by Michael Clements and ridden by Nunes. He had run second in the benchmark 83 to Kirk's Riker.
And Emperor's Banquet returning after a lengthy absence, over 300 days off the track. Vlad Jurek, the man on board from an inside gate. So we're just about set here at the 1,400 metres. This is the Mr. Big 2011 Stakes. They stand. And they're off and racing as he let them go. Nova Strike was slow along with Emperor's Banquet, and White Hunter only has one battle strategy, and that is to go forward under Harry and will lead early from Hip Hip Hooray, who's trying to get across from that wide draw. He then followed through by Mr. Fantastic on settling down. 3.5 lengths further back to Majestic Moments. The old-timer Golden Curl towards the inside of Best to the Line. Nova Strike, and last of all is Emperor's Banquet as they race towards the end of the back straight at 24.32 for the opening quarter of a mile here in the Mr. Big 2011 Stakes. And it's White Hunter who just steadies them down the side, leads by a length from Hip Hip Hooray, who's got a beautiful run in behind the pace setter. Length and a half to 2 back then to Mr. Fantastic with the yellow sleeves. Golden Curl has never left the inside, being followed through by the 3 sweating Majestic Moments. Nova Strike is ridden. Best to the Line is deepest of all, and Emperor's Banquet is also under pressure at the back of the field. So well over 400 metres left to run, and out in front it's White Hunter who shows the way. Hip Hip Hooray, now push comes to shove on that one. Here comes Mr. Fantastic with the lightweight. Majestic Moments right over the top of them here, the class act. Then came Golden Curl. Nova Strike not able to land a blow as they race then inside the closing stages. 200 metres left to go, and out in front Majestic Moments. A great tussle with Mr. Fantastic here as they race inside the final 100. Mr. Fantastic pulling out plenty on the inside, and up towards the line Mr. Fantastic will go and win. He got back up off the canvas to beat Majestic Moments. In second, Hip Hip Hooray, and behind those Emperor's Banquet Banquet past a few, with White Hunter across the line. Then came Golden Curl best to the line, and pulling up rather swiftly after the finish was Nova Strike.
If you go back and look at his last start, Naresh never moved on him. You know, he just got pinned up on the fence, and you know, that was the end of him. But I thought my second horse's run was fantastic. You know, he just needed it. He moved up like a winner and just got a bit tired. And take away nothing from the other horse, Emperor's Banquet. He ran out of his skin as well. So, like I said early on, you know, I just hope I've got two sound horses, and I've got a lovely prep for them. Mr. Fantastic deserves a win like this. He's always been a hard knocking little horse, but you know, for him, race fitness, I guess that was what counted for him, and the other guys are just going to come out of this run in leaps and bounds.
Last time didn't get things his way, but today I opted to just sit behind the speed. Did a little bit too much work in front, so I just bided my time, and you know, turning for home, I just got into build up. The challenge from the companion came on the outside, but I knew he was going to keep digging, and he really found the line hard.
Mr. Fantastic could not have asked for more as he got his chance to forge ahead to a half a length win from his brave stable companion. For a fleeting moment, Majestic Moment seemed to have the upswing on the outside and would at any moment outsprint his stablemate for that perfect comeback. But the 4.5 kilos, pull-in weights, and probably the lack of racing fitness eventually told as he shortened up inside the last 100 meters. Favourite Hip Hip Hooray was always in a winnable position, but could not quite quicken up when called upon to settle for third place another length away. With that, his 7th win from 29 starts, Mr. Fantastic has now brought his stakes earnings past the $440,000 mark for the Avengers stable. Two races later, and it was the Group 3 Juvenile Championship for 2-year-olds over 1,400 meters. 9 horses came into the parade ring to make a bid for the $200,000 prize. BB from Shane Barchiga's stable was the favourite on account of his terrific form. He had won at each of his last 3 outings, with the most recent being the most impressive, the Oz Horse Golden Horseshoe, where he defeated the much talked about and lauded Mr. Hanks. The latter was the charge of James Peters, who is just in his 2nd year of training here at Kranji. The Englishman was disappointed with the way things panned out in the Oz Horse, but he put that defeat down to the difficult draw of 13. With a more favourable draw of 3 this time out, he had his hopes pinned on Mr. Hanks. Mark Walker's ward, Ferocious, was also expected to give a good account of himself and had R. Shafiq riding him. However, it was Make You Famous that jumped out first as the gates opened.
So they're just about set here at the 1400. Just need to get the gate shut behind him, and they do. And they're off and racing in the Juvenile Championship for 2017, and Ferocious was slow to leave the machine and will give them lengths as Mr. Hanks got out nice and swiftly. Make You Famous towards the inside. BB, the favourite, just settling in behind those from Whistling Wind, who's deep with the white sleeves. Then came Charger. Racing together as the Ricardo Lagrange trained pair of Super Power and Ifrigar, the filly. Back in behind those 2.5 back then is First Choice, and last of all is Ferocious, who can see all of these rivals. 24.50 for the opening quarter of a mile as they begin to turn down the side of the course in the Group 3 Juvenile Championship, and it's Make You Famous, the roughie, who shows out from Whistling Wind. 2 lengths further back to Mr. Hanks, who's got a dream run round in 3rd. Ifrigar towards the inside from BB. Then in behind those, and deepest of all is Charger with a gold cap. The last trio consists of First Choice, Super Power, and last of all is Ferocious as they begin to turn back towards home here in the feature, and it's Make You Famous who has now given way towards the inside. Whistling Wind takes it up, but Mr. Hanks is absolutely cantering on the outside here for Jurek. He now lets him go. BB begins to chase. Here comes Ferocious with that potent turn of foot. Ifrigal trying to box on the filly from Charger as they race inside the closing stages, and it's Mr. Hanks in front. He's whacking away. He leads by about 1.5 lengths to 2. Here comes Ifrigal, the filly from Ferocious, who looks as if he's got nothing more left to give, well inside the distance, and it's Mr. Hanks the far side from Ifrigal, and up towards the line, Mr. Hanks. Mr. Hanks has won it. An Oscar-winning performance for Peters and Jurek. In second was Ifrigal. Then came Ferocious. Following those across the line were First Choice, Super Power, BB. Looked a little bit flat today. Maybe that win last time took plenty out of him. Then came Charger. Whistling Wind was one of the last to pull up, and Make You Famous, who cut out most of the early running, was the last one to finish.
It was a long last 50 metres. I know that I could see Ricky's horse coming, and I was just hoping we'd hold on. Vlad kicked on a long way from home, and I was a touch concerned, but the horse was very tough, tried very hard, and he's obviously got a lot of ability. I thought there'd be a bit more pace from out wide, but you know, that's the benefit of having a good draw. You can just jump and be wherever you're comfortable. He had a beautiful run round. Vlad got him out into some clear room. He didn't want to get pocketed. I think that's why he had to go so early. But no, it's great to have a big winner like this for Mr. Poor. You know, new owners in the stable, and to have a feature race winner is huge.
He jumped well, and I was just looking for a couple to go early. I really wanted to get a bit of cover with the blinkers first time, and I was exposed for a fair bit of the early part of the race. And then once Olivier crossed me, he settled nice, but just had so much horse come to the corner, and I actually had to pop away from Ollie's heels for a few strides, and he just came in the race way too soon, and actually wasn't sure whether I won. You know what I'm like in a photo finish, so I thought James is going to kill me if I've got beaten here, but all credit goes to the horse, and well done to CK. He's been a wonderful owner here in Singapore, and I've been fortunate enough that he's given me a lot of opportunities, and I'm very grateful to get this opportunity to win a good race for him.
In a nail-biting drive to the wire, Mr. Hanks and Ifragul finished locked together, but it was the former who won by a head. The well-backed Ferocious, who brought up the rear before commencing a searching run through the packed field from the 500-metre marker, loomed as a huge menace but could only finish third, another 1 3/4 lengths away. BB did not enjoy a trouble-free run like in the Oz Horse Golden Horseshoe and wound up fourth, another gap of close to 4 lengths off Ferocious. As for Mr. Hanks, with this, his second win from 3 starts, he has taken his local stakes earnings to around the $150,000 mark for the Oscar Racing stable.
Now I'd like to invite Mr. Fong Hing Bu to present the prizes for the Juvenile Championship won this year in 2017 by Mr. Hanks. And representing Oscar Racing Stable, please make welcome up on stage, CK Poir. Well done to Oscar Racing Stable, magnificent supporters of Singapore racing down through the years, and another feature race win for CK. Congratulations, and great to see Oscar on the track here today, enjoying in the celebrations of the win of Mr. Hanks. The winning trainer, please make him welcome up on stage, Mr. James Peters. Well done to James, just in his second year as a fully fledged trainer here in Singapore, and victorious last year in 2016 with the likes of Titanium and Spanish Bay in feature races. But in 2017, for the first time, we see him up receiving a trophy in a group race. Well done to James, and the winning jockey, Vlad Jurek. Sitting atop the Jockeys Premiership in 2017, and he gets there by a head in the end, Vlad, on the winner, Mr. Hanks, who completes a magnificent 2-year-old campaign which started in New Zealand and finishes in Singapore with a Group 3 success. Congratulations go to all winners after the running of the Juvenile Championship.
They're off and racing in the Juvenile Championship for 2017, and Ferocious was slow to leave the machine and will give them lengths as Mr. Hanks got out nice and swiftly. Make You Famous towards the inside. BB, the favourite, just settling in behind those from Whistling Wind, who's deep with the white sleeves. Then came Charger. Racing together is the Ricardo Lagrange trained pair of Super Power and Ifragar, the filly. Back in behind those 2.5 back then is First Choice, and last of all is Ferocious, who can see all of these rivals. 24.50 for the opening quarter of a mile as they begin to turn down the side of the course in the Group 3 Juvenile Championship. And it's Make You Famous, the roughie, who shows out from Whistling Wind. 2 lengths further back to Mr. Hanks, who's got a dream run round in third. Ifragao towards the inside from BB. Then in behind those, and deepest of all is Charger with a gold cap. The last trio consists of First Choice, Super Power, and last of all is Ferocious as they begin to turn back towards home here in the feature. And it's Make You Famous who has now given way towards the inside. Whistling Wind takes it up, but Mr. Hanks is absolutely cantering on the outside here for Jurek. He now lets him go. BB begins to chase. Here comes Ferocious with that potent turn of foot. Ifragal trying to box on the filly from Charger as they race inside the closing stages. And it's Mr. Hanks in front. He's whacking away. He leads by about 1.5 lengths to 2. Here comes Ifragal, the filly from Ferocious, who looks as if he's got nothing more left to give, well inside the distance. And it's Mr. Hanks, the far side from Ifragal, and up towards the line, Mr. Hanks. Mr. Hanks has won it.
And that's all we have time for in this episode of The Winning Post. If you've missed anything, you can always catch it on our YouTube channel. Do remember to follow Mohit Lalwani on Twitter for his tips. And of course, goodbye. Until we see you next time, may the horse be with you.